Hi you guys! Alright, so this is rather old school actually, making a video in the bathroom, but I'm about to take a bath, and my computer generally comes in because sometimes I'll read my email or I'll watch TV on Hulu. It's really glamorous, and I read while in the bath too. But anyway, I got this message, like a request to make a video or whatever. I'll read the message, but I won't read who it's by so that it remains fairly anonymous. It says, I know you're fairly new into recovery and all that, but I have always wanted to see the idea of support systems addressed in a video. As in, do you have one? How successful is it for you, etc. This month, actually, mine fell through entirely, perhaps because I invested my will to live and desire to do so in the wrong people. But if anything, that's what's always caused me trouble, to the extent I stopped functioning because of the mostly unrealistic sensation of isolation. I'm wondering if this is an issue for other recoveries as well. Yes, that sensation of isolation, which I don't think is always based in like totally unreal, but I do think that it's often self-created, and that many people, including those who have had eating disorders for a long time, do have people who are sort of wanting you to be a part of their lives. They might just be scared. I know that for me, there are a lot of people who, or at least a few, it doesn't have to be a lot, there were a few people who I love very much, who love me very much, who are just still this far into recovery. And it's not as if I've been in recovery for a long time. It's been maybe 6 months since I went into treatment, but I've made some huge turnarounds. They're scared to approach me, and they're doing it slowly, but it's terrifying. They don't want to watch you die. And so there's a lot of whatever. So yes, that sensation of, that feeling of isolation, I feel like can be kind of a killer, and really, really hard to face, because recovery is something that requires a support network. I think that Tony Paulson, he was the director of one of the programs and the founder or whatever, one of the programs that I was in, a day program that I was in, believed that recovery is almost entirely relationship based, like that the like cure for eating disorders is love, as cheesy as that sounds, but I mean, I think that there's something to that. So yeah, I would also say to be careful like who you include in your support network. At first it might be treatment people, and that's something that's iffy because you don't want to get too reliant on treatment people, but at first, depending on what your resources are, it's okay to have like your therapist, or if you're in a treatment center, then be your primary form of support for a little while. You just have to be able to be willing to take the suggestions when they prompt you to then find people in your life at home. And so it's really important to make that transition, who are going to be there longer term, because treatment is a temporary sort of thing. It's temporary. I'm lucky. I'm in a 12-step program, so I do have a sponsor. I do have a network of people who have dealt with addiction in general, not eating disorders like particularly or whatever, but who understand the nature of addiction, and so, you know, maybe a little more knowledgeable in general. But yeah, it's hard. So many people in their eating disorders are so isolated, and again, it's something that's mostly self-created, but after a while people don't really want to be around you, probably, if you're really entrenched. But I think a lot of it is reaching out to anyone, not being particularly picky at first, just be around people. If all you do in a day is get out and go to a coffee shop and be around other people, maybe strike a conversation with a stranger, that might be your social interaction for the day. But I do feel like it's incredibly important not to get stuck in your own head and alone. Ideally, what's been really helpful for me is to have women who are healthy, who have healthy images of themselves, and are doing things with their lives that I admire. That's been really helpful to have in my life. I have a few of those. Yeah, so it's really important to be, I think that it's also good to have, if you can really find people who are recovering or recovered, who are not engaging in their eating disorder behaviors, like ideally, to talk to. There's got to be no element of competition. Like Lauren. Lauren is a really good example. Lauren LiveJournal. Some of you probably watch her videos. She is the one who drove me to treatment, who talked to me for months, or maybe like a month and a half or whatever, every day when I was on the waiting list, and we've continued to be friends, and we talk and we hang out. I go down there to LA to visit her. I go to alumni group down there, and I went to support her show. She is a woman who is in recovery and has a substantial amount of time in recovery, I think almost a year now. And she and I are really good for each other. We both understand where we've been, and we both don't want that. So if you can find someone who's a little further ahead of you, that there's not going to be that competition or like who's sicker element, I think that's really helpful also. Because it is important to have people who understand the process and who you can be like, wow, I remember where you were. That's part of what was so helpful about my connection with Lauren, is I remember where she was. I know there's no way I can be like, she doesn't understand, because I know she understands, and she's done it. And it was kind of miraculous to me that Lauren is really in recovery. And now I get to really be in recovery, and Lauren has been a huge part of that for me, and I'm so grateful. She's been a huge part of it. What else? What else about support systems? If you can have your family involved and they're supportive, I think that's huge. A good friend of mine, her family is incredibly supportive. She lives with them. They really help her around meal support, like structure and helping her eat. If you have that available to you, that's great. If not, it's really helpful, I find, to eat with people. Have people know what's going on around you, because it's not something that you can recover from alone, as much as you'd like to think that you can. It's a disease that you probably suffered from a lot, like you were probably engaging in the behaviors alone. So yeah, people are more than willing to help if you let them know what they can do most of the time. So if you have any more specific questions, let me know. And yeah, that's my spiel on